All right, John, you know what time it is?
It is Gloomhaven time.
It is time to talk about Gloomhaven with our game overview that we were talking about doing. So, why don't you go ahead and let everyone know what Gloomhaven is?
Gloomhaven is originally a tabletop RPG, more or less a board game
Yeah, I'd say
that
to
has been digitized and
yep,
now on Steam.
yep, right on Steam. And this is what we have talked about it before, like yeah, dungeon crawlers, campaign game. Um, Not a hack and slash game. Like a lot of people are going to be frustrated if they come into this thinking that it's going to be another Diablo game. It is
Nope.
a heavy resource, mainly on deck of cards. So a deck resource game. Sure, there's other fancy terms for it, but how many
It is
players?
definitely it is definitely resource management. It is up to 4 players, 4 characters in the game, but you could also play with one person can play 4 characters, 2 characters. You can really do it however the heck you want. It's just a tabletop game that's been digitized. Is what we're going to be playing today. So, um, but yeah, it's we recommend having at least 2 players. You can play 2 players with 2 characters each, or 4 players, 3 players, however you want to do it. But it's a great game by itself, but it's a whole lot better when you have somebody else to play with, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it's one of those things. We'll get into it in the rules that there are certain actions and your certain plays you're kind of keeping kind of vague and kind of secret from the other player, even though you're on the same team. A lot of that's just to raise the difficulty. But my thing with more playing with someone else, it, this is a thinky game. There's a lot going on, and if you play this solo with 4 mercenaries, hey, that's awesome. But that is a lot that you're having to, I guess, your brain bites are having to deal with, as opposed
Yeah,
to me and John. It's we play 2 mercenaries, 2 players, so it's a little bit more manageable.
right. Especially for multiple when you're multiple characters when you're brand new to the game. And I think that's more who we're speaking to now, is we're speaking to the newer player, maybe somebody who wants to jump into the game,
Yeah.
um, who may be interested in getting it. If you're getting in the game for the RPG elements and you're okay with a very slow paced, kind of um, I don't know, just like more difficult. I was
It,
going to say Souls like, but I don't like that term.
it
But
can be frustrating. It can be a frustrating, slow game. Enjoyable, but
yeah,
it's probably going to frustrate you.
it's about as rewarding as it is frustrating too.
I
So
agree.
especially at the beginning when you're getting used to the rules. But luckily, the digital version has easier game modes. I do recommend if you've never played it, jump on one of the easier game modes. You can always change it later.
Yeah, well, and I
Uh,
guess with that, like we did mention that it's a board game adaptation. This was like a pretty one of the hottest like board games like there for a while, but a lot of complex overhead in the board game. The Steam version takes a lot of that out. It does it for you, so you're not having to do as much bookkeeping. But I guess with that, John, for someone who has never maybe even heard of Gloomhaven, what do you got for like just the general game mechanics, like on how it plays?
game mechanic, you could expect to see traditional RPG elements mixed with a deck builder, mixed with a grid-based battle system, and a it's a situation where choices matter as well, depending on how you want to build your character and how you build the city out.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, and with that, like I guess like even going a little bit deeper, it is we keep saying decks. Like you are going to play with a deck of cards anywhere between 8 to 10 characters, depending on which character you pick. You can see like on the screen right here, we've got 4. Truthfully, I don't even know how many characters there actually are because you unlock them. But you will have a deck of cards, and every turn you're going to pick 2 of those cards to play to do your actions, and then the enemy also is going to have their actions, and then you're pretty much just moving, attacking, doing other special actions, and just trying to get the victory condition for each level.
Right. And the game starts out, you create your character, you select the predefined characters. They come with their set decks, starting cards, and you can play with them a little bit. I think you can get, like, say a character has a 10-hand deck size or something. They'll give you 13 cards to play with, so you kind of get a little bit of customization right out of the gate. But you also retire your characters too, so it's not one of those where you're gonna create a character and it's gonna stick with you for the entirety of the game. It could, but it probably won't, because the way you unlock new characters is by retiring certain characters. So, there's a lot of character development, and then you retire the character, and you could just rehire the same character, and there are perks. I don't wanna spoil anything there, but there are perks to, like, retiring and then rehiring that same classic character. Uh, so
Yeah, there is a lot of hidden stuff in this game, I guess, with stuff like that. With all the additional characters that you can unlock, but then obviously the way that you can unlock them. But I guess with that, we've hit like like I said, this is all the wave tops. With that though, we could probably jump right into some gameplay footage that me and John have done earlier.
yeah, well, let's do it.
All right, for the main player phase, the big action that you're going to be doing is you're going to be selecting two cards, running down the left, are pretty much all the cards that you have in hand. Each card has a top and a bottom. Typically, the bottom's going to be more move oriented. The top will be more attack oriented. This is not always the case. Some of these cards will switch up. Um, the big thing with these cards also is in the center of the cards there will be a number, and that's going to be your initiative number. Lower number goes first, so if you had a card with a 1 on it, that would go first. A card with 100 on it, that would be one of the last cards. So whatever the first card you pick is going to set your initiative. So in this example right here, defensive tactics from the brute sets a 26. Then followed by skirmishing maneuver. It's a 29 initiative, but as you can see at the very top with the brute, 26 was the initiative set.
Yeah. So we've selected our initiative cards. When you select your action cards, like Pat mentioned, we select your initiative as well. Once you select your action cards, your initiative selected, then you draw from the monster deck, and that's how you see the monster's initiative, which you do not know when you are initially selecting your cards. So you kind of have a general idea based on the monster and how fast they're going. Like, so like the rock golems, for example, go slower than like the fire demons or something like that. So, um, yeah, that's initiative. You it's kind of a guessing game. You're not really supposed to share with other players what your initiative's going to be either. You can say you're going fast or going slow, but you're not really supposed to say exactly how fast you're going. Even though I don't know that anybody actually obeys that rule completely.
Adds
But
to the difficulty.
yeah, it adds to the difficulty. But the game's plenty difficult as it is.
All right, with the initiative set for all the characters and the enemies, now it's the brute's turn. So with this, each card has a top and a bottom action. If I pick the bottom action of defensive tactics, that means I can't do the bottom action of skirmishing maneuver. So it's one of those, only the top of one card and the bottom of the other one. So in this example, I will be using defensive tactics. This gives him retaliate and shield. It's a defensive card, so this is one of those cards as an example where it's not a specific move ability. However, with that being said, each card can be used for generic abilities. So with this, I could use the top of defensive tactics for just a regular 2 attack, or the bottom of it for a regular 2 movement. And with the movement, it is a hex-based game, so it is just moving that many spaces on the hex board. We'll be using the bottom of defensive tactics. So retaliate and shield with the brute. And with skirmishing maneuvers, gives me an attack 2 for the top one. Although, as you can see, It's nothing in front of me for me to attack. So I'll be skipping this attack, but it moves down and now gives me a move 2, which is going to allow me to move up, get just to the side of this bear, and then it goes to another attack 2. And this is where we'll select the bear, and we'll pull from the battle deck and see if we get a good hit. That pretty good hit, +2 like pulled. So 4 damage on the bear, so overall successful on the brute's turn. Whenever you do a attack action, you're going to be drawing from your attack deck. Your attack deck is going to be made up of multiple cards, going from 0 or null all the way to ×2. So all these dots, this is how many of each of these cards are in your deck. So if you have an attack 2, and then you draw from the deck, if you get a +0, your attack did 2. If you drew your -2, then the attack does no damage. As you play the game, there's the ability that you're going to get perks. With these perks, once you start unlocking them, this will let you customize your battle deck. So if I had a perk, I could check this and I could remove 2 of the -1 cards, thereby giving more favor to the more positive cards. See, it starts getting a little bit more advanced with some of the perks that you may choose, and each character is actually different with the cards that they're going to be able to put into their deck and customize it. Some of the top and bottom actions may have this burn icon. This is going to give you a strong ability on those actions, but it will remove that card for the rest of the scenario. So this becomes the push your luck or the gamble on getting that strong ability, but in the same sense, you're going to be limiting how many turns your mercenary will continue with the game.
Bam! Here we go.
Some rollers. There we go. Okay.
Bam! So good, man. So good. So, long rest. When you run out of your cards in your hand, you have to either long rest or short rest. You have to long rest or short rest. You don't have an option. A long rest, it takes a whole turn. You have initiative 99. And you get to heal 2 and refresh all your tapped items. Short rest, you can act immediately, but you discard a card at random instead of being able to select your discard card. Yeah, and I guess I skipped the part where you have to discard a card in between rest. In order to rest, you have to discard one of your cards, burn a card.
Yeah, I guess the difference with that, with long rest, you can choose. Short rest, it'll choose randomly, and you can lose a health for it to choose another card. But
well, traditionally, like original game rules say that it's random. You don't get to like try again.
the gold that you get for the missions, or as you loot throughout the scenario, you will be able to go back to Gloomhaven and go to the merchant. He'll have a selection of wares that'll help you beat more scenarios. As the game goes on, it will unlock different items, but all of these are just going to give different abilities as you play through. Before the start of every scenario, you're going to be given the option of 2 battle goals per each of the mercenaries that you're playing. These battle goals are what unlock the perk points that you can use to customize your battle deck. Depending on the difficulty, you can see with this top one, it's 2 perk points, but it would require that the brute does not loot gold piles or open any chests like during the entire scenario. You can see down here, have 5 or more total cards in my hand at the end of the scenario that would grant 1 perk point. This is another one of those items for added difficulty. If you are playing multiplayer, you wouldn't share your battle goals. So in order to get those perk points, there's times where you may be playing suboptimally in order to get a perk point to then open up your battle deck or customize your battle deck for future scenarios. During character creation for your mercenary, you'll get the option between two personal quests. These personal quests are what's going to dictate when your mercenary retires. So once completed, as you can see with this one, if I donate 120 gold to Sanctuary Great Oak, the Brute will be retired. Rewards, these unlocks, that's another character class, and I can't remember the actual how many different mercenaries there are, but with this it'll unlock a new character or a new mercenary for us to try out in the game. And then with the majority of them, I think all of them, Gloomhaven will go up +1 prosperity, which helps with new mercenaries being created. Once you get a certain number of XP, either granted to you through quest or actually even card use, you'll be able to level up your character. Whenever you level up your character, it's going to give you the option between 2 new cards, which you'll be able to select one of those to add to your main deck. Now with that, you're still going to be limited on your mercenaries on how many cards that they can bring into the actual scenario. Some may only have 8, some may have, I think, upwards of above 10. Additional goal with leveling up is it will provide you more hit points on your mercenary. It will also give you a perk point that you can go in and update that battle deck to either get rid of some of the negative cards or give yourself some more positive cards for when you're using attack actions. We hope you enjoyed our Gloomhaven overview video. Gloomhaven is a very complex and strategic game, and there is a lot more to discover and unlock than this overview covered. But hopefully it provided you with a summary on what to expect with the game. Until next time, Denna Bruce signing out.